Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
There we are. Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:02. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses, and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning. I was trying to see if I get a Tampa Bay webcam or something up because they're starting to get pounded down there.
I heard that on my way in. I had NPR on, and
yeah.
Okay.
I was listening to the Fox Weather. They had reporters around Tampa Bay, and they're not sending anybody up into the crease there. They're kind of holding their people back. They're just saying it's not safe up there. It's not going to be safe for any period during the landfall.
Yeah.
Mandatory evacuation orders all the way up through there. If you didn't listen, please, if you got relatives down there, tell them. It might be too late to get out.
Yeah.
Especially in Tampa Bay where they have high bridges over the bay.
Yep.
The bridges are already closed.
Yeah.
You got to ride it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting down there.
It really is going to be
and
interesting.
They were surprised that it did get to a Category 4. It's going to make landfall as a Category 4. They were expecting a 3.
Yeah, that's what the last I heard was a 3.
And the sustained winds, I think, is about 20 miles an hour to bump it from one level to another. Mm-hmm. It's been a while since I reviewed the category levels. But they knew when it was a tropical storm that it was going into very, very warm water. Because there's been no real storms there to kind of pull that energy out of the water. Mm-hmm. There's been no storms there really all season. So that water's been sitting there building and building and building for heat all summer.
Yep.
And this is this is the function of a hurricane, is to basically, it's like this massive air conditioner. That's what a hurricane is. It pulls the water, it pulls the energy, the heat out of the water, and basically converts it into a storm. That's what a hurricane does.
Okay.
And with the convection, it churns up the water and starts pulling that energy out, converts it to thunderstorms and rain, and that's the power of a hurricane comes from the temperature of the water.
Okay. I didn't know that. I did know that the water down there is ridiculously warm.
Yes.
I mean, it's killing wildlife and, all kinds
Christy
of
said that
things.
even on the Atlantic side, it was 80s. When she was down there with me, she said it was definitely in the 80s. And
That's
I think
amazing.
I looked it up. The water was in the Atlantic Ocean.
I mean, exactly. We're talking about ocean. We're not talking about a pool.
Well, it's because they've had a ridiculously hot summer, too.
Yeah.
The high pressure ridge settled in and just made it hot.
Yeah. And now this storm, because I heard this morning too on my way in that it will be going up through Georgia, and they think that it will continue to be hurricane status now.
Yeah,
it'll
degrade.
Of course it will. Yeah,
it'll degrade down probably to a
bit.
Category 1, but that's still sustained winds of 74 to 90 miles an hour.
Yep, and plenty of water. So.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem about any of these storms is mostly the water, and so much water gets dumped. And Florida, I know on the East Coast has had a particularly wet summer.
Okay.
I know when we were at the World Series in Jensen Beach that if you got a thunderstorm, it would start ponding up. The ground was so saturated.
Yeah, right. There's no place for it to go.
It would pond.
Yeah.
So we had a duck pond basically on a spot that's usually fairly dry. Mm-hmm. And it was just wet the whole time.
Yeah. It's really hard when you get that much water at one time. If the ground is already saturated, that's a problem. And also if the ground is so dry, like they were talking about, Florida or not Florida, but California and some of the areas out there where the ground is so dry. And then all of a sudden you just have this saturating rain. And it's almost like it can't. I guess it's almost like clay or stone. It just can't absorb it that fast either. So either way, you have problems. Massive amounts of rain in a short period of time
is never a good thing.
Is never a good thing, right? That's going to lead to problems. So yes, as you said, Pete, for those of you who have friends and relatives living in Florida, hopefully they have already evacuated. One of the smaller areas they were saying they had really good cooperation with people getting out, heeding the messages, and okay, we are not going to ride this out. So hopefully many people did that. But you are in our thoughts, Florida, for sure. All right, so Pete, what kind of weekend did we have? Good weekend? Busy weekend?
You're going to love this one.
Go ahead.
So
lay it on me.
On Saturday, we're supposed to celebrate my nephew's birthday.
Okay.
So I get the text
Always
saying,
fun.
all right, well, we're going to Treehouse. Meet us there at noon. Great.
Okay.
My problem is I read it really fast and put it in my calendar. And Christy and I grabbed breakfast and, went to Charlton.
Okay.
And I called my brother and I says, hey, where are you guys? And he goes, we're inside. He goes, we're inside. So, all right. So, grab a beer, buy our tickets, grab a beer.
Okay.
And I says, all right, we're looking around for you. We go outside, and there's a nice, beautiful patio there, a huge pavilion. Looking for him, don't see him, call him and go, where are you guys? He goes, we're downstairs. I'm like, downstairs? There's no downstairs.
Where
he goes,
is
where are you?
Where is there a downstairs?
He goes, we're in Deerfield. We're at Treehouse in Deerfield. And
Oh,
it did say it on
no.
the text message. And I said, you're what? We're in Deerfield. So at this point, I'm mad at myself, right? So I'm
Yeah.
grumpy, right?
Oh.
So now I'm discussing with Christy whether we should drive over there or not, because it's the whole point of going out is not to drink beer, it's to be with family.
Right. Of course.
So we decide it's about an hour.
Okay. Yeah,
To
that's what I
drive.
was going to say. Like, what's the...
It's 90 to 91 basically.
Okay.
So we jump. I finished my beer quickly.
Okay.
I'm not happy because I'm up
Yeah.
down $16 for 2 beer tickets.
Right.
We drive over to Deerfield, and we get there, and it's a beautiful place. It's an
Okay.
old publishing company, I guess,
Okay.
and they have this monstrous lobby with huge glass windows. That's now the tap room.
Oh, nice. And it's called the Treehouse.
It's Treehouse Brewing.
Treehouse Brewing. Okay.
Right. So they started in Munson, and they're
Okay.
several years ago. They started in
Okay.
Munson in a barn.
Okay.
The plumber and a couple other guys.
Now, do they still have the one in Munson?
No.
No,
They
okay,
they
so
outgrew that
okay.
quickly.
Okay.
They built Charlton
Okay.
as their main brewing facility.
Okay.
They don't do distribution,
Okay.
so they're not in all the stores and
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
They've kept their model where they just sell it. But I saw a guy walking out of there with 8 cases. That's kind of,
Oh my gosh.
and at the price of that, that's probably $600, $700 a beer.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it's not cheap.
Okay.
So they've built this model. So now they opened Deerfield about a year and a half ago.
All right.
They bought a place on the Cape.
Okay.
They bought in Tewksbury.
Wow.
They bought a golf course, and
Wow,
they
these
made
are
a
quite
tap
the-
room out of. It's
These
a
are quite
monstrous.
the entrepreneurs.
It is a monstrous operation now. It's a
amazing.
multi-million-dollar operation.
And these were brothers, friends?
friends,
Friends. Okay.
and they've been ranked the best IPA, New England IPA in the country, and so they've got this huge reputation.
Who knew? Wow.
Right,
I've never heard of this place, Pete. This is really cool.
They've got this huge operation, and if you like, do you like beer at all or no?
I do. I'm not a huge beer drinker, but I really enjoy it when I do drink it. So
Right.
yeah.
So you may want to take a trip out to Charlton.
Okay.
It is almost like they have fire pits, and you can sit on
Nice.
Adirondack chairs outside.
Nice.
They have this huge 150-foot covered pavilion.
Wow.
They can open the doors so the inside's like the outside.
Nice.
It is a beautiful spot. They usually have food trucks.
Yep.
In
okay.
Deerfield, they have a pizza oven as big as this room.
Oh, wow.
So they make pizzas
Nice.
there, and yeah, it's crazy.
Nice. So you made it up there in time.
Yeah.
Everybody was still there. And,
Yeah, we made it there in about an
Yeah.
hour.
Yep.
And we stayed there. God, we got there probably on 1:30. We stayed there till like 5.
We'll see. So it was worth the trip.
And the other nice thing about
worth the
Treehouse is
hour
they're
trip.
smart. They only allow you 3 beers.
Wow.
So you have a wristband, and they mark your wristband.
I am so impressed.
You have
This
a limit
sounds
of
like a
3
really great place.
Through a limit of three drafts you can have. You can always
Okay.
take some home.
Yep.
But those are the rules. When you're done your 3, if you
You're
want a horse
done.
ride with somebody you're with, and they're
Yeah.
not drinking their 3, and
Yep.
you can handle one more, sure.
Yeah. Wow.
But
How
yeah.
cool is that? So this was for your nephew's birthday?
Yes, he's 20,
Nice.
26. I think,
Nice.
26.
So that was a good time.
Yes.
So it was worth the trip. So you settled down after you got there?
Yeah, after
Love
I
it.
white
Yeah.
knuckle drive over there.
I know.
I was
know.
so mad at myself.
I know. You know
You
what?
know, that's why I hate texts, because you
Yeah.
read it really fast, and your brain sometimes puts in stuff.
Gets ahead of you.
Yeah, we went to Charlton last year. That's where we're going.
Yeah. I would have thought the same thing.
I was so
like-
mad. My brother will never let me live it down. You know that, right?
Yeah, and you know what? The worst part of it is like, okay, and I knew as you're telling the story, I thought, oh my God, they're in the wrong place. They're in the wrong place. They're in the wrong place. Because it's like, yeah, we're here. Where are you?
Have you ever had that happen to you?
It has. Yeah. I think it's happened to everybody. I mean, sometimes it's not a big deal. It's like, oh, well, we're at a place down the street or something like that. But yeah, this was,
That's a live view of Tampa Bay, by the way.
Oh, it is.
I found University of Tampa Bay has a camera.
Okay.
At the riverfront.
There it is.
So you can see the palm trees are moving out there.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. All right. So, so let me tell you what I did. So this weekend, of course, I was at the senior center pretty much the whole weekend because Monday I had scheduled for when Grace had the baby, we decided we were going to convert the dining room into kind of like an all-purpose room because we really don't use the dining room much. Yeah, kind of like a little bit of everything. So, but because Charlotte was born 2 weeks early, we hadn't really finished that project. We had barely started the project. We got the dining room furniture out of there, which was like a 6-month undertaking because it was big furniture, and it was hard to get rid of, but we did. So we got that out.
Now, did you get rid of it or did you store it?
No, we got rid of it.
Wow,
we got
okay.
rid of it. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yep. So we found some takers and off it went. So there's already hardwood floors in there. So I had here's my little plug for Wagner flooring over here in Westfield. So I had gone to Wagner to get some carpeting for the nursery, which also has hardwood floor. And I just wanted to get area carpet. So Grace and I went down there. This was before the baby was born. So we go down there, we find the carpet and we fell in love with it. And it was more than I wanted to spend, but it really was the one that we really,
quality stuff.
We really, really liked it. And I mean, it wasn't that it was outrageously expensive, just more than, because I knew I was also going to have to get an area rug for this other room. So anyway, so we got that carpet, and then I can't remember I think it was after she was born. I said, all right, well, we really have to start working on this other room. So, and the carpet for the nursery didn't take that long to come in, maybe like a week and a half. Mm-hmm. And so that was easy. So that was fine. But the other room, the one downstairs, we had furniture that we had moved from upstairs to downstairs that we were going to put in that room. But we didn't want to put it in there until the rug went down because we didn't want to have to move it out because it was kind of heavy. Some of it was kind of heavy.
Gotcha.
When it was like a bookshelfy thing that was in Grace's room, and I'd gotten a few guys to when we did the hardwood floor in the nursery, we had the guys who did it bring this thing downstairs so Gary and I wouldn't have to lift it. So anyway, that's like sitting in the kitchen. We just had stuff everywhere. Now we got a new baby and we had, just stuff everywhere. And so it was really like, we got to get this front room done. So anyway, I'd gone back to Wagner. I found another rug for the front room, which we are now calling the memory room. Our rooms are all named. So we have a room in our house that we call the Serenity Room, and it's been the Serenity Room for 20 years since we lived there. It's I
remember you saying that.
Yep, quiet room. You can close. We
all
put
kinds of
French
plants
doors
and
on
stuff.
there. Yep, it's just a quiet room. No TV, no radio, no anything. Just there's 4 stressless chairs. We do a lot of reading and just talking, socializing in there. So the dining room, Grace said, well, we have to name this. So what we did was we had some shelving put in. We're doing a bunch of pictures in there, so we could just alternate the pictures. So I said, well, we call it the picture room. We call it the memory room. Well, Grace decided we're going to call it the memory room because we're going to make memories there. And because some of the photos there are older photos. So, memories of like our parents and grandparents and things like that. So the memory room. So anyway, the carpet took longer to come in because it was back ordered. So I get a call last week from Wagner telling me that the carpet is ready and they can deliver on Monday. So I said, great. In the meantime, I had a handyman lined up to do a bunch of, put up curtain rods, put up the bookshelves, hang the mirror in the nursery. I had like a laundry list of stuff. So, and it's somebody that we recommend that the seniors use. So I knew he was good because a lot of the seniors have used him and said, he's really great and he's polite and he's, reasonable and all that. So I lined everything up for Monday. Plus, my brother and sister-in-law were stopping by on a voyage from Bar Harbor down to Baltimore to visit their daughter.
Okay.
So they were going to stop by later in the day. So, okay, fine. So anyway, I took the whole day off, which is why I was at the senior center all weekend to get all the stuff
Wait a
done.
minute. There's the headline. You took a day off.
I took a day off, but I worked 2 over the weekend in order to take the day off on Monday.
All right.
But anyway, so long and the short of it was handyman shows up at 8:30, so we get him going. Grace and the baby are there. I'm there. Carpet comes at around 2 in the afternoon. I had the carpet guys move the furniture into the memory room. So Grace and I are frantically and I've got the vacuum is going. I'm cleaning rooms as things are happening here. When Gary left for work on Monday morning, my house looked like a bomb went off. I mean, there was stuff everywhere because, we knew that the carpet was coming in, and so we could move everything into the room. Like the pack and play was going in that room. There was a recliner chair that was going in that room. So, we just had stuff everywhere. Well, I have to tell you, we worked like dogs. So my brother and sister-in-law called at around 4:30. They usually stay with us, but now they got to stay at a hotel because we're running out of bedrooms. So they were staying at the Fairfield Inn in Holyoke.
All right.
So Marianne said, okay, we just got here. So I said, all right, I'll tell you what, why don't you come by at 6? And they were going to come by for dinner. And I said, I will have dinner like ready at 6 o'clock. Like it'll be, out on the table ready because they were hungry. They had an early lunch. And I'm not even sure that I don't think I ever ate lunch. So I said, all right, we'll do that. And that gave me like another hour and a half to just finish doing some stuff. Grace and I were trying to get everything finished. And so it was hysterical because they got there at 6. It was like that memory room is beautiful. I mean, when Gary left, it was completely empty. So it's nothing on the walls.
Isn't that wild having a shell of a
And when he came back, the carpet was there, the pack and play was moved, the bookcase was there, and now we had it filled with I'm calling it a bookcase. It's really like a cabinet.
Shelving
so and so we had all the, receiving blankets folded and, diapers and everything put there right next to the pack and play. The lounge chair for nursing purposes was in the corner or just, chatting purposes. And what else we'd moved lamps in there. And I mean, it was like, and we had put a few pictures up on the shelving that we got this really great shelving for photos. So it was just a different place. And while Rick was there, I had him hang a few other things. And Gary came home and he was just like, what? And the rest of the house, of course, was now put in order because all that stuff that was all over the, the family room and the kitchen and the Serenity room had now moved to where it belonged. Everything was weird. And Gary was just like, he said this, I mean, you talk about a total transformation. It was like HGTV, Pete. It was really cool.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. And what was so great is that usually when I work my butt off all day long, it's either cleaning closets or something. Like, you really can't tell that I did anything. Like, I know what I did. But this was one of those, you walked in and you went, oh my gosh, this looks fantastic.
That's funny.
Yeah, so it was great. It was beautiful. We love our new memory room. It's so different than what it was a dining room. When it was a dining room, it was the walls were like a deep red and
really?
Yeah, the bottom walls because it's got like the paneling. I don't know what I call
crown
it paneling.
Molding.
It has crown molding, but it's also got these panels on the bottom. So those were like a deep red. And then there was like a sort of goldish and red, like a, sort of kind of like a wallpaper, but it was not really wallpaper. So
Gotcha.
anyways, just look it was like a complete transformation because now it's just a very light shade of 2 shades of gray, but very soft and kind of a silvery gray. It's really pretty.
Okay.
And I have to say, I cannot say enough about Wagner Rug. I mean, not trying to do a commercial or anything, but they were so great to work with on these 2 carpets. I can't say enough about them. So Westfield owned, I think they've been in Westfield for a million years.
Yeah, they've been around since my dad had his shop back in the
what?
70s, I believe.
Well, they were fabulous. Rob and Rick and Nico, he schedules all of the deliveries and everything.
Yep.
The guys who delivered were just fabulous, really, really helpful. And when I said to them, would you mind, moving these? No, we'll move some furniture for you. So good all the way around. So yeah, we're always supporting and plugging our Westfield small businesses. And Wagner's now right out on Route 20. They used to be over by Forge Construction and Planet Fitness and down that area, whatever that road is. I don't know what that road is called, but anyway.
Yeah, Mainline Drive.
Mainline Drive, yeah. So, and now they are right on Route 20. So, all right,
They
so
had
all good.
they moved into the old Midas place, didn't they?
Yes, it was one of the car places, Pete, I think, but I don't know.
Oh. No, I thought it was
so.
Midas Muffler.
Yeah, right. Well, something to do with cars. That's what I
Okay.
meant.
So also, first famous birthday.
Yes.
Today is my future daughter-in-law, or future daughter, future stepdaughter.
Stepdaughter.
Lindsay Hayes is 19 today.
Oh, happy birthday, Lindsay. And
Yeah.
she's the one that's going to school, right?
Yes.
Okay. And
There was a bit of confusion last night. I went down there to work on a computer.
yes. Ooh. Yes, and I have to ask you something. Speaking of computers, I'll
All
ask
right.
you off air.
I went down there to work on a computer because I'm trying to upgrade it and give it some more life.
Okay.
So she assumed that I was coming to dinner because it was supposed to be just a family dinner.
Yep.
And I'm not quite family yet.
Yep.
I'm getting
Okay. Yep.
there. She assumed I was coming, and then her mom had sent her a text saying, was it okay for me to come?
Yep.
And so when it came time to leave, I was working on the computer.
Okay.
And I was knee deep in it, and I wasn't going to leave it half.
Yeah.
So I didn't go because
Okay.
I didn't have permission, and I don't go where I want. So now she feels bad because she assumed I was just going.
Yep.
Or is Pete going to meet us there? Chrissy's like, no, I asked you permission because it was just a family thing.
Yep.
So there was a bit of confusion.
Yep.
So hopefully that goes a long way for me.
Well,
because
yes.
I didn't insert myself,
Yes.
and I still
Yeah.
I'm still working on the computer because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. No, I think, and you know what? Those are all those little things you have to navigate, Pete, as you're kind of working your way into the family. And
Right.
And Christy's working her way into
I
your
don't
family.
yeah because I don't like our
Yeah.
family. Our family we don't care.
Yeah.
We're kind of like one of those people that we don't just come
Yeah,
on over.
the more the merrier.
Yeah, just come
Yeah.
on over.
Yeah.
But I don't like inserting myself into
Yeah,
situations
yeah.
where I don't belong.
Right.
That's the biggest mistake I think that people coming into that type of a situation make.
Yes.
They just let go, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it's just a different navigation now with people who've been married before, and and their children and
Yes.
children involved. Kids are different,
even as
they have
adult
different
children, it's
feelings.
not.
Yeah. Oh
It's not.
yes. Well, and I think that's the mistake people make. They think, well, you're adult children, so you are going to be open-minded, and no, adult children are
They
still
have
children.
feelings
They have
too.
feelings too.
Yeah.
All right. So listen, we need to take a break. 'Cause of course, we've yacked away. Tomorrow, It's what we do. Tomorrow is Westfield's International Overdose Awareness Day, and we are going to be talking about this more second hour. My guest will be Robert Ortiz from Tapestry Health. We're going to be talking more about this, but just to give you the update, and it is supposed to be a nice day tomorrow, so that's good. So please join the Westfield Health Department to remember those we've lost as we raise awareness of overdose. It will be tomorrow night, 5:30 to 8 p.m. right on Park Square. There will be guest speakers. There will be resource tables. There will be Narcan distribution and training. The Wall of Healing and Hope will be set up, and that is very powerful, folks. We've had it at the Senior Center. Years ago, we had it several times during our senior options. But it's a place to share messages and memories in honor of our loved ones. And I know it really touched a lot of our grandparents at the Senior Center who have lost grandchildren, especially to overdose. There will be music and a candlelight vigil. So that will be tomorrow night. And again, we will be talking more about that. Second hour. But this first song is called Summer's End. It's by John Prine, and it is in honor of Westfield Overdose Awareness Day tomorrow, and the vigil that will be happening tomorrow night. This is a really powerful video. I mean, and we don't show the video, we just play the music, but if you have a chance, again, it's called Summer's End. I chose it because, I was looking for okay, we're kind of ending the summer. The kids are back in school. But when I watched the video, it really is all about overdose awareness. So, you are listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. We'll be back after this break.
Summer's ends around the bend just flying. The swimming suits are on the line just drying. I'll meet you there for our conversation. I hope I didn't ruin your whole vacation. Well, you never know how far from home you're feeling until you've watched the shadows cross the ceiling. Well, I don't know, but I can see it snowing. In your car, the windows are wide open. Just come on home. Come on home. No, you don't have to be alone. just come on home. Valentines break hearts and minds at random. That old Easter egg ain't got a leg to stand on. Well, I can see that you can't win for trying. And New Year's Eve is bound to leave you crying. Come on home. Come on home. No, you don't have to be alone. Just come on home. The moon and stars hang out in bars just talking. I still love that picture of us walking, just like that old house we thought was haunted. Summers then came faster than we wanted. Come on home. Come on home. No, you don't have to be alone. Come on home. Come on home. You don't have to be alone. Just come on home.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for ArtsBeat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:30. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. I'm in the studio this morning with Pete Cole. So we've got a little bit of rain going out there, but nothing like what we're seeing on the webcam that's in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and that's on the south end of the storm. They're going to get the least amount of impact.
Okay, so that's where we are glad that we're not there this morning. All right, it is August 30th. Let's do some famous birthdays other than Lindsay Hayes. Is that her last name, Lindsay Hayes?
Yep, and Lindsay Hayes.
Okay, other than Lindsay Hayes, Pete's future stepdaughter. All right, it is the birthday of Warren Buffett, investor, philanthropist, born on this day in 1930 in Omaha, Nebraska. Warren Buffett is 93 years old today. He is considered by some to be one of the most successful investors in the world. The son of a U.S. congressman, he first bought stock at age 11 and first filed taxes at age 13. You got to love this. He attended the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania in 1947, and then he transferred to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, where he graduated at the age of 19. Buffett went on to enroll and graduate from Columbia University, where he learned and eventually molded his investment philosophy. He has been the chairman and largest shareholder of Berkshire Hathaway since 1970. Berkshire Hathaway owns dozens of companies, including insurer Geico, battery maker Duracell, and restaurant chain Dairy Queen. He is noted for his adherence to value investing and for his personal frugality despite his immense wealth. Warren Buffett still lives in the same Omaha, Nebraska home he purchased in 1958 for $31,500.
See, that's the smart. Like, it was
Yep.
almost like sounds like Al First,
Yes.
who lived in a modest home,
Right.
in Westfield.
Yeah.
Wasn't anything
There it
grand.
is. It's all about what you need,
Mm-hmm.
not about what you want. I mean, if the home that you live in is adequate, then it's adequate. You don't.
One quick question for you: Are
Sure.
you iPhone or Android?
Android.
Okay.
I am. Gary's iPhone. Grace and I are Android.
Okay.
All right. Buffett is a notable philanthropist, having pledged to give away 99% of his fortune to philanthropic causes, primarily via the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In 2009, with Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, Warren founded the Giving Pledge, whereby billionaires pledge to give away at least half of their fortunes. So here is your quote for the day, Pete. This is a Warren Buffett quote.
All right.
Rational people don't risk what they have and need for what they don't have and don't need. I'll say it again. Rational people don't risk what they have and need for what they don't have and don't need.
That makes sense.
It does make sense. Happy birthday, 93-year-old Warren Buffett. Yeah.
We're both hacking away.
I
there.
know, we are hacking away. Mine is allergy, drainage stuff.
I think that's what mine started as.
Yeah.
And then it became the summertime
And then
cold.
it kind of got it, yeah. It morphed. All right, it is also the birthday of the late Fred McMurray, actor born on this day in 1908 in Kankakee, Illinois. He died at the age of 83 in 1991. Fred McMurray appeared in more than 100 movies, and he had a successful television series during a career that spanned nearly half a century, from 1930 into the 1970s. In the 1930s, this surprised me, because I think of Fred McMurray, My Three Sons. But prior to that, he did a lot of films. In the 1930s, he worked with actors Barbara Stanwyck, Henry Fonda, Humphrey Bogart, Marlene Dietrich,
Yeah, he was a big time.
Katharine Hepburn, and Joan Crawford. I was shocked at that. Usually cast in light comedies as a decent, thoughtful character, and in melodramas and musicals, Fred McMurray became one of the film industry's highest paid actors in that period of time, back in the 30s and 40s. In 1943, his annual salary had reached $420,000 in 1943, making him the highest paid actor in Hollywood and the fourth highest paid person in the nation at that time.
Crazy.
That is crazy, Pete. I wouldn't have known that. Fred McMurray is well known for his role in the 1944 film Double Indemnity, in which he starred with Barbara Stanwyck. Later in his career, he became better known worldwide for his performances in numerous Disney films, including The Absent-Minded Professor and The Shaggy Dog and The Happiest Millionaire. On television, we all know he portrayed Steve Douglas, the widowed patriarch, on My Three Sons, which ran on ABC from 1960 to 1965, and then on CBS from 1965 to 1972. I think that was more common back then, where shows would run on one station and then get put onto another station. Does that happen now?
Shows were network based.
Yeah.
And if they ran out on one network and they were still a good show, another network could pick them up. Now with the advent of streaming and stuff, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Today, now this is significant to my family, only because we have this saying. Today is the birthday of the late Shirley Booth. Shirley Booth is an actress born on this day in 1898 in Brooklyn, New York. She died in 1980 in Chatham, Massachusetts, at the age of 87. One of 24 performers to achieve the Triple Crown of acting, Booth was the recipient of an Academy Award, 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, and 3 Tony Awards. Her love was really theater. She really loved the stage. Her Broadway career began in 1925. Shirley Booth's most significant success was as Lola Delaney in the drama Come Back Little Sheba, for which she received her 2nd Tony Award in 1950. She would go on to win 3 Tony Awards. She made her film debut, reprising her role in the 1952 film version of Comeback Little Sheba, for which she won the Academy Award for Best Actress and the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress for her performance. Despite her successful entry into films, Shirley Booth preferred acting on the stage and made only 4 more films. In 1961, Booth was cast as the title role in the sitcom Hazel, about the domineering yet endearing housemaid named Hazel Burke, who works for the Baxter family. The series also starred Don DeFore as George Baxter, Whitney Blake as Dorothy Missy Baxter, and Bobby Buntrock as the Baxter's young son, Harold. Upon its premiere, Hazel was an immediate hit with audiences and drew high ratings. The series ran from 1961 until 1966, and Booth won 2 Primetime Emmy Awards for her role. She was later acclaimed for her performance in the 1966 television production of The Glass Menagerie. So here's the thing about Shirley Booth. We have this saying in our house all the time about Hazel. It's like, listen, I say it all, it's like, I am not Hazel. Clean up after yourself. Hazel doesn't live here. She doesn't work here. She's not doing these dirty dishes in the sink that you made. And I know I've started saying it around the senior center. It's like, who left their dirty dishes in the sink? What staff member? I am not Hazel. I'm not cleaning this up. So happy birthday, Hazel. Yep, we use that all the time. It is also the birthday. There were a lot of famous people born on August 30th. It is the birthday of the late Kitty Wells, country singer born on this day in 1919 in Nashville, Tennessee. She lived to 92 years old. She died in July 16, 2012 at the age of 92. Born Ellen Muriel Deason, she was nicknamed the Queen of Country Music. Known professionally as Kitty Wells, she was an American pioneering female country music singer. Wells broke down a female barrier in country music with her 1952, now notice the year, 1952, hit recording of It Wasn't God Who Made Honky Tonk Angels. It was the first feminist song in country music, and the recording made Kitty Wells country music's first female singing star in her own right. The record's message was controversial at the time and was banned by many radio stations, and also initially by the Grand Ole Opry. They wouldn't play it initially. Nevertheless, audiences couldn't get enough of it. It was the first single by a female singer to peak at #1 in the 8-year history of the country music chart, where it remained for 6 weeks. Her top 10 hits continued until the mid-1960s, inspiring a long list of female country singers who came to prominence in the 1960s. So happy birthday to Kitty Wells. And of course, we're going to listen to that song a little bit later in the show. All right. We'll do one more birthday, and then we'll take a little break. It is the birthday of the late Ted Williams, born on this day in 1918 in San Diego, California. He died on July 5th, 2002 at the age of 83. Theodore Samuel Williams was an American professional baseball player and manager. He played his entire 19-year Major League Baseball career as a left fielder for the Boston Red Sox from 1939 to 1960, except his service time during World War II and the Korean War. Ted Williams is regarded as one of the greatest players in baseball history. Williams was also an outstanding fielder, especially in the difficult left field of Fenway Park in Boston, where he played his entire major league career at that position. He was a 19-time All-Star, a 2-time recipient of the American League Most Valuable Player Award, a 6-time American League batting champion, and a 2-time Triple Crown winner. So happy birthday to the late Ted Williams. It is 6:41. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. And in honor of the birthday of Warren Buffett, we're going to listen to Bare Naked Ladies singing If I Had $1 Million, which he does.
If I had $1 million,
if I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house
I would buy you a house
if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
buy you furniture for your house.
maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a K car.
a nice Reliant automobile.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
I'd build a tree fort in our yard.
if I had $1 million,
You could help, it wouldn't be that hard.
if I had $1 million,
Maybe we could put like a little tiny fridge in there somewhere.
well, we could just go up there and hang out.
Like open the fridge and stuff, and there always be foods laid out for us with little pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
Well, can you blame them?
Oh yeah.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat.
but not a real fur coat, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet.
yep, like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains.
ooh, all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1 million,
Now we'd take a limousine 'cause it costs
if
more.
I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
but we would eat Kraft dinner
Of course we would. We just need more.
and buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right. All the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a green dress.
but not a real green dress, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you some art.
a Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
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 I'd be rich.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:46. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles. I'm looking out the window here.
It's drizzly.
Yeah, it's like drizzly. I mean, it's not any big deal, and I believe that it is actually going to clear up this
I hope
afternoon
so.
a little bit. Yeah, it's supposed to clear up this afternoon, and then tomorrow's supposed to be beautiful.
By the way, Harry Rock is taking advantage of the 5th Wednesday of the month.
Oh, he
and he's
is?
back.
I was going to ask you if there's anything special going on today.
He taped a show last week with St. Mary's. So
Oh, nice.
Matt Collins and Hope Tremblay are on.
Nice.
for the hour with.
Nice.
He talked about Westfield Public Schools with Zap last week.
Yep.
And then he talked with St. Mary's about parochial schools.
Perfect. Okay. So great. That great segment. So that'll be coming up at 8 o'clock. Pete has a live webcam going on. That is, you're looking at Tampa Bay.
The Tampa
right?
Riverfront.
Yep.
Which and if you look at the overall, they're only getting a little bit of that. If you take a look at the storm, I mean, that's a huge storm. That is a monstrous storm right now. And it's going to have wide-ranging effects. I mean, it's all the way into Louisiana, basically.
Yes.
So
and I'm looking at where it is in Louisiana. I have my niece lives in Shreveport, but I can't tell where that is.
Yeah, it's not making it over that far, but
okay, good.
I mean, it's already reaching well into Alabama and up into up into Kentucky. It looks like.
Yep.
That's a big storm.
It is a big storm. And this is Idalia is how they're pronouncing ID. All right, let's finish up here. It is August 30th. We have one more famous birthday. This is, this is a Massachusetts famous birthday. Robert Parrish, professional basketball player, born on this day in 1953 in Shreveport, Louisiana. Interesting. He is 70 years old today. I cannot believe that Robert Parrish is 70. But then again, of course he is. I'm 66, for heaven's sakes. What am I thinking? All right. Robert Parrish was an outstanding and imposing basketball center who played 21 seasons in the NBA, tied for the second most behind Vince Carter with 22 seasons in the NBA. He spent 14 seasons with the Boston Celtics, and in that time, he won 3 NBA championships. That was in 1981, 1984, and 1986 for all of you Celtics fans, and featured in the Celtics' famous rivalry with the LA Lakers during that time period. He won a 4th NBA title with the Chicago Bulls at the tail end of his career in 1997. Robert Parrish was a 9-time NBA All-Star. He was on the All-Star team from 81 to 87 and in 1990 and then again in 1991. And over his 21-year NBA career, he holds the record for the most games played with 1,611. That is a whole boatload of basketball games.
Yeah.
So happy 70th birthday to Robert Parrish. All right. So August, I had to do this one because I've got a brand new baby in the house. So August is National Breastfeeding Month. So I did want to talk a little bit about this because Grace is breastfeeding, Charlie. Her name is Charlotte Rose, but she goes by Charlie in our house. And so for most babies, breast milk is the best source of nutrition. A mother's breast milk will change to meet her baby's nutritional needs as they grow quickly in their first year. Babies who are breastfed have a lower risk of asthma, obesity, type 1 diabetes, and sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS. Breastfeeding is good for mom, too. Mothers who breastfeed have a lower risk of breast cancer, ovarian cancer, type 2 diabetes, and more. It's recommended that babies are exclusively breastfed for about the first 6 months of their life. However, only 1 in 4 babies are exclusively breastfed by the time they are 6 months old. The longer babies are breastfed, the more likely they are to be protected from illnesses and have more positive health outcomes as they continue to develop. Common barriers to breastfeeding include lack of knowledge, social norms, embarrassment, and employment. Most women in the United States are aware that breastfeeding is the best source of nutrition for most infants, but they seem to lack knowledge about its specific benefits and are unable to cite the risks associated with not breastfeeding. In the United States, bottle feeding is viewed by many as the normal way to feed infants. A study that analyzed data from a national public opinion survey conducted in 2001 found that only 43% of U.S. adults believed that women should have the right to breastfeed in public places. Restaurant and shopping center managers have reported that they would either discourage breastfeeding anywhere in their facilities or they would suggest that breastfeeding mothers move to an area that was more secluded. When they have breastfed in public places, many mothers have been asked to stop breastfeeding or to leave. Such situations make women feel embarrassed and fearful of being stigmatized by people around them when they breastfeed. Employed mothers typically find that returning to work is a significant barrier to breastfeeding. Women often face inflexibility in their work hours and locations and a lack of privacy for either breastfeeding or expressing milk or pumping and they don't have any place to store the expressed breast milk. In 2017, I love this. I read this to Grace while she was breastfeeding Charlie on the couch the other day. In 2017, Australian Senator Larissa Waters became the first politician to breastfeed on the Parliament floor. The move was seen as a statement for family-friendly workplaces. Waters played down the publicity, noting that women have been breastfeeding forever, which is true. So interesting story about breastfeeding. So Grace will return to her vet tech program next week at HCC. So she texted one of her professors because she's going to have to pump. Because she's going to be on campus for like 6 hours, so she's going to have to pump. So she texted one of her favorite professors, Dr. Hatch, because she can't take his class this semester now that she's part-time. So she knows that he will be teaching while she's going to need to pump. So she asked him if she could use his office. And she just loves him. And he wrote back to Grace and he said, I would have absolutely no problem with that, were it not for the fact that there are no curtains or windows or shades or blinds on any of the windows, I guess, at HCC.
Oh, geez.
And he said, and his office is on the first floor, and I guess overlooks the parking lot. So, like, as people are walking by, they could just look in the window. And Grace said even the doors, like the windows on the doors into the offices, some of the professors have put newspaper up because everything's open. So, but he was going to do a search for Grace and find a place for her to do it. I said to Grace, you ought to turn this around and why don't you just charge? Like people can look and, see how it's done and you can like charge a fee and make some money on the side.
Oh,
she didn't like that idea. But anyway, so yeah, this is a big thing. And I have to say that Grace is actually a very discreet nursing mother. Like for me, it was really, it was hard for me. I got better as I went along and Grace got older and, you could kind of just tuck her underneath your shirt. And honestly, she also has a cover, like she got a cover that's someone gave. There are some nursing covers that are just lightweight and you just kind of put them over the baby.
Like a little blanket, yeah.
Yeah, like a little blanket, but Grace said the only problem with it right now is she said it's just so hot outside, and even in air conditioning that, she doesn't want to use it right now. So, and of course she doesn't have to in the house. So, but anyway.
So I have an update on the video.
Go for it.
This is from Cedar Key, which is supposed to be where Jim Cantori went. Let's just say that.
Okay.
That's they lost the feed about 10 minutes ago, so they must be without power. But they're getting pummeled.
It's getting wonky.
They're getting pummeled. That's about 3 hours ago.
And where exactly is that?
That's Cedar Key. I think that's going to be ground zero.
Okay.
But that's getting pretty well lashed there. I mean, to see the place next door has power still.
Yep.
But those raves that storm surge is, look, it's already up over the first floor. So if you have a car, it's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Your car's gone.
Yep.
Because you're up on stilts.
Yep.
And if you're riding it out, God bless you, but
I see it.
That's not a cool thing right there.
It's not pretty. All right, so we will keep you updated as we go through this broadcast on things happening in Florida, but they are it has reached landfall. So
just about, yeah.
Things are getting a little crazy. All right, let's do a few announcements. So the September Voice of Experience newsletter, here it is, hit the press on Saturday and is at the Senior Center. You can get it at the Senior Center, at the senior housing complexes throughout the city. I dropped it off at Walgreens yesterday, the pharmacy on Silver Street, dropped it off at the Stop and Shop pharmacy. So, yeah, it's out there. All right, a couple of announcements in terms of what's in the newsletter this month. So the Senior Citizen Property Tax Work-Off Program, September is the month of the applications. It is the only time we do applications. So if you are interested in participating in this program, the applications are available now. The application packets are available now. All you have to do is call the Senior Center, say that you want an application packet. They're going to put you through to my voicemail, leave your name, and tell me how to spell it, your last name especially. Leave your name, your address, and your phone number. That's all I need. I will get an application packet in the mail like the next day. most of the premise of this program is that you do volunteer work for the city of Westfield in exchange for an abatement on your property, your city property taxes. That's kind of it in a nutshell. There are two things that are new this year. One is good, and in my opinion, and one is bad. So the good news is we have completely eliminated the income guidelines. So it doesn't matter what your annual income is. You don't have to show me your tax return, which you used to have to do. You can apply to the program. So that's good news. The bad news is that there is a fairly new mandate that says that you have to file taxes on the money earned, even though you're not earning the money, it's an abatement, with the feds, not with the state of Massachusetts, believe it or not. Taxachusetts, you're not getting taxed on it for Massachusetts, but you are for the federal government. So what that means is that you now are considered special municipal employees. And so I have some paperwork that I have to do for that. And there is, so the property tax abatement is $800, but it's really not going to be the full $800 because they're going to take out federal taxes, OBRA, and something else. It's so, I had...
The government gets theirs.
You know what, Pete? I was so upset about this. And so was, I had, like, at a meeting before, before Charlie was born, like the day that Grace was induced, I ran over to City Hall for this meeting that I'd scheduled with the auditor, the treasurer, the assessor, payroll, me, about how and personnel. Because it's like, we don't want to make you full employees of the city with all the nonsense that goes with that. So there is a category called special municipal employee. And so what that does mean, though, is that there are some documents that you're going to have to bring to the interview with me. All of this is on the front page of the newsletter. So, and more information, I will be happy to give you more information if you give me a call at 562-6435. All right, Senior Theater is back with Steve Henderson. So there are no auditions, there is no memorization, and anyone who wants to be in this show can be in the show. The organizational meeting is next Tuesday, September 5th at 1:30 in the Senior Center. So that's information and a casting session. But again, there are no auditions. If you want to do it, you can do it.
Before they lost video, take a look at that.
I know, right? I know. I was looking at it. That's amazing.
That they've lost for the past
that's it.
hour. I think they've lost their cell signal.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
But look at that coming ashore. That was about 2 hours ago.
Yeah, it's
batting down, folks.
It's getting wonky.
Look at that sideways.
It's getting wonky. Yeah, that's the wind. All right. Two more things that I do want to address before we take our top of the hour break. I put in the newsletter and I sent to all of the candidates who are going to be running for everything: mayor, city council, school committee, light board, and Athenaeum trustee, our senior center political activity policy. Again, it's posted on the front door. It's been there since we moved in, and before that, because it was posted on the old senior center. Essentially, there's no campaigning at the senior center. That's what it gets. That's what it boils down to. You can't. The candidates cannot pass out buttons. They can't get signatures. They can't do any of that. That's our policy. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't have political things at the senior center. We've done, debates at the senior center. We've done open houses. We've done, meet and greets and so forth. And that's fine when everybody's invited and everybody gets a fair chance. But there is no political campaigning at the senior center. So for my participants, you don't have to worry about being, descended upon by the politicians.
Yeah, we may have to organize a school committee debate because they have to have a runoff election.
They
for that.
do, yeah, and that was my next point. Thank you, Pete. Is that the senior center will once again be the Ward 2 polling station. There is a preliminary election for the school committee members on September 19th, which is a Tuesday. So there are some there's information in the Voice of Experience newsletter about that. And I also wanted to just just mention, and this is why I was back and forth, Pete, with you and Kenny a few weeks ago. We will be doing, as we have done on WCPC, as a public service, we will be opening up interview sessions for all of the city council.
A lot of candidates this year.
Yeah, a lot of city council candidates and the mayoral candidates. So between the two of us, Kenny and I, traditionally have interviewed the candidates. We ask them the same questions, so there's no, one of them
was
more.
One of them was inadvertently a guest on Bob's show, but we didn't talk about city issues. He talked about his job, which is a Berkshire Bank.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. So, So anyway, so those will happen during the month of October. So you will certainly have an opportunity for any of the candidates who want to participate. And I think I put that in my newsletter or in my in the letter that I sent. I sent all the candidates a letter with the political activity, our policy, and also said you'll have an opportunity to come on to WCPC and get your message across to the public. So, all right. So I can take a little coughing break here because that's what I'm going to have to do.
Holy crap. Look at this. Wow.
Pete is getting mesmerized.
That's just amazing how bad it is.
It is
Holy
bad.
Cow.
That is Florida that you're looking at.
That's ground zero.
Yep, that's ground zero. All right, you're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. We'll take our top of the hour break. We'll come back. We'll have some more announcements. And at 7:15, we'll have our guest on. We'll be back.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at Rockies.com.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday. Every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio. 89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:06. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses, and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
And Pete is fascinated with what we're watching here.
You can barely see that other house, and that's now That's
yeah,
about
you can see it
30
in the
miles.
background.
That's about 30 miles south of the landfall area.
Okay. All right. So
And
we
so
are
they're getting
we are watching
pummeled.
we're watching the Hurricane Idalia in Florida. That's Cedar Key that Pete has in the background over there. So our thoughts are out to all of our friends and relatives in Florida. And we all know people who live in Florida.
Looks like it's going to make landfall somewhere around Keaton Beach, which is about 30 miles north
Okay.
of that. But I mean, that's Cedar Key is where Cantori went. Usually he's pretty good about that kind of stuff, but it's moving further into that bend. And the problem with that is it's going to build up the water all along that bend area, and it's just going to pile up, and the storm surge is going to be pretty bad.
Yeah. All right. Batten down the hatches in Florida. All right. A few announcements before we bring our guest on. As I mentioned, the Senior Center is the new Ward 2. We're returning to the Ward 2 polling station. As a reminder, September 19th, there is a preliminary election in Westfield, and that will just be for school committee members. We have too many school committee, which is really nice to have so many people that want to serve on the school committee. I think that's great that we have to have kind of a runoff election. A few other things that are happening at the Senior Center. September, we're kind of back. We're up and running again. Some of the programs take a summer hiatus. Our Novel Ideas book group will start up again in September. Our Do Re Mi singers will be back in September. And we are starting a new service at the Senior Center. We're calling it Happy Feet Foot Care Service. And that will take place on the first 2 Tuesday mornings of the month for those who are pre-registered. So you do have to sign up in advance for this. There is a $30 fee. It must be paid at the time that the service is rendered, either in cash or by check, made payable to the Westfield Council on Aging. Our foot care nurse is our wellness nurse, Evelyn Bristol, and Evelyn is given to us. She's a gift from the health department. And Evelyn went through a pretty rigorous training to learn how to do foot care. So she actually did a couple of people last month just as our guinea pigs, our sort of pilot program, and it went very well, and they were very happy. So if you are interested in foot care, you need foot care, she's, I think, actually already booking into November. Flu shots at the Senior Center. We do still have a limited number of slots available. We will be doing our flu shot clinics on Wednesday, September 27th and Thursday, September 28th from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. You do have to register in advance, so please call the Senior Center at 562-6435 to sign up. And what happens is when you call us, if you would like a flu shot, if you want to participate in the flu clinics, we're going to have you come down to the Senior Center at whatever time and day is convenient for you to give us. We need to make a photocopy of your health insurance cards. And then once we have copies of those cards, Evelyn Bristol, our nurse, will call you, and she'll do all the pre-registration over the phone. So that works out really well. So on the day of the flu clinics, there's no paperwork. We don't have to make copies. You just come in, check in, get your flu shot, wait your 15 minutes so we can make sure everything's all fine and you're okay and you don't feel lightheaded or anything like that, and we'll send you on your merry way. So again, we don't have too many slots left, but we still have a few. So if you're interested, those dates are Wednesday, September 27th and Thursday, September 28th, and that's all through the health department. So they will be, Deb Mulvena and company will be actually giving the shots. I also want to remind you, and we'll talk more about this during the month of September, but Run Stanley, a multi-generational event for all, will be happening on Sunday, October 1st at Stanley Park. And that is a combination of Run Stanley and what used to be the Wheel Walk. So we've now kind of combined it. We're going to talk a lot more about this. In mid-September, I'll have a couple of guests from Stanley Park on. But just for now, mark your calendar for Sunday, October 1st in the morning. We're also bringing back to the Senior Center our Rest, Relax, and Recharge program. That's done by Reiki Master Nancy Greenwood. She'll be offering a weekly guided imagery session, and that will start next Friday on September 8th. in the afternoons from 2:30 to 3:30. So it's just really a great way to unwind at the end of the week and kind of hide from all of the local and the national and the international news, which can sometimes really bring stress to all of us. And then finally, our Cops for a Cause chili luncheon. Hopefully you got your ticket because we are sold out. I do want to remind people this is an indoor event only. There was a mistake in the newsletter that actually said, if you look under the in the menu section, it says curbside or indoor. It's not. It's just an indoor event. We'll have Richie Mitnick and Ethel Lee performing for us. We will have members of the Westfield Police Department serving up our ice cream sundaes, but those tickets sold out yesterday. So that is all to raise money for our local Alzheimer's Association. And then finally, please remember that Medicare open enrollment is starting next month. And during the month of September, you will be getting your annual notice of change, or we call it the ANOC, A-N-O-C, annual notice of change. That's going to come from your insurance company, and it's going to tell you what changes they're making to your prescription drug plan, whether or not they're going to continue to cover whatever medications you're taking or not. So be on the lookout for that. Please, please, please do not throw it out. You're only going to get one. It's going to come sometime during the month of September, and you really are going to need that to find out if what your plan is currently paying for that you're taking, are they still going to be paying for that come January 1? So again, that's your annual notice of change. You're going to need that during that Medicare open enrollment period, because if the medications you're on, or one of the medications that you're on, is not going to be covered by your current plan, you may need to switch plans. It may just be more economical for you to switch plans. So be on the lookout for that. They are mandated. The insurance companies have to mail that at some point. You need to get that before September 30th. So then Medicare open enrollment will start mid-October, and then we can talk about that next month.
By the way, Cantori's clocking wind speeds of 130 miles an hour at Cedar Key.
Okay. All right. You know what, Pete? After we take this break, which we're going to take,
we're going to drop
it
off. Yeah,
we're going to drop it off because it's getting distracting. Mm-hmm. All right. One final announcement. Pete was saying that at the top of the hour, Harry Rock did a fifth. We have a fifth Wednesday of the month, so he did a second edition Rock on Westfield, and he's going to be interviewing. That was a taped edition. He'll be interviewing Matt Collins and Hope Tremblay from St. Mary's School.
Correct.
Well, Harry is going to be tomorrow. Harry's going to be at the Farmers Market. The rock duo, Harry Rock and John Severance, will be there from 12 to 2:30. This is really great. And then from 2:30 to 5, the Keepers, Marion Duncan, Chip Arnold. So, good friends of WCPC and Cable Channel 15 will be at the Farmers Market
over
tomorrow.
There with a camera if I have time.
That would be so fun. Yeah, I mean, those are, they're great. They both performed at the Senior Center.
I can teach Harry to operate that in 5 minutes.
Yeah, there you go. All right, you are listening to WSKB 89.5 FM.
On a crazy news morning.
Radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. We have Robert Ortiz from Tapestry Health, who will be joining us in just a couple minutes. I'm off schedule on my songs, Pete. So which one are you doing? Can you do the Josh Groban one? Or do you have the other one lined up?
No, I can grab that. I found it. I got it.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay. We'll be back.
Who can say for certain? Maybe you're still here. I feel you all around me. Your memory so clear. Deep in the stillness, I can hear you speak. You're still an inspiration. Can it be that you are my forever love, and you are watching over me from up above? Fly me up to where you are beyond the distant star. I wish upon tonight to see you smile. If only for a while to know you're there. A breath away's not far to where you are you gently sleeping here inside my dream? And isn't faith believing all power can't be seen? As my heart holds you just one beat away, I cherish all you gave me every day. 'Cause you are my forever love, watching me from above. And I believe that angels breathe, and that love will live on and never leave. Fly me up to where you are, beyond the distant star. I wish upon tonight to see you smile. If only for a while to know you're there. A breath away's not far to where you are. I know you're there. A breath away's not far to where you are.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:19. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles, behind the glass over there. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
And my guest this morning is Robert Ortiz from Tapestry Health. Robert is the Sexual Health Outreach and Engagement Coordinator. That's a mouthful. Welcome, Robert.
Well, thank you, Tina. Appreciate you.
All right. So before we get started with Robert and who he is, and the reason that we played that Josh Groban song on our intro here to Where You Are is because August 30th is National Grief Awareness Day. All of us have experienced grief in one way or another throughout our lives. As part of the human experience, grief encompasses the emotions that appear in response to loss. Sorrow and suffering, although painful, are a natural reaction to loss. Whether we're grieving the death of a loved one or grieving a relationship, job loss, or other life event, the process of grief is something that comes in waves and is not linear. Every individual has a unique journey through grief. National Grief Awareness Day takes place on August 30th each year with the mission to educate people on grief and create space for loss. The day also offers resources for those experiencing grief and an opportunity to share stories of grief and let others know they are not alone. Grief doesn't always entail the loss of a life. It can occur through life transitions, changes in identity, and both large and small traumas. You may be grieving a cancer diagnosis and an idea of what you thought your life would look like. Regardless, every type of grief is valid. There are numerous ways to cope with loss and grief. You can find support through therapy and support groups, either in person or online. Be gentle and patient with yourself as you honor grief, and don't be afraid to ask for help from loved ones. Express yourself through hobbies, art, or writing, and come up with ways to process and honor what you've lost. Grief is like a never-ending ocean, waves that feel engulfing, waves that can pull you under, and waves that you somehow can get through. But you're not alone in your grief. In time, the waves will pass, and you will resurface. So we are, there's a lot happening over the next couple of days. And so this, sort of today being National Grief Awareness Day, but tomorrow is International Overdose Awareness Day. So, a lot of this kind of falls together. But before we get into that, and before we get into Tapestry Health and what Tapestry has brought to Westfield and continues to bring to Westfield, let's get to know Robert Ortiz a little bit better. Robert, usually when I have a guest on the show for the first time, we like to just get to know a little bit about you and about your background. Where did you come from? Are you from this area? Where did you go to school? How did you end up at Tapestry? So, and I always like to say, and in your case in particular, I'm sure that when you were in the 3rd grade, and the teacher said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I don't think you said, "I want to be a sexual health outreach and engagement coordinator." So let's talk about how you got to where you are today.
I am new to the Westfield area. I'm fairly new. I've been out here now going on 2 years.
Okay.
So part of that was one of the main reasons I applied at Tapestry. One, it was local, so it shortened my commute to work. And also it was also important to engage and work with individuals in the community. So I've done work in the past. I was a residential care coordinator for the United Arc out of Franklin County.
Oh, no kidding. I didn't know that.
So I used to run 4 group homes up there in the Greenfield area for a few years.
Now, tell our listeners, because we're really big. I have to always ARC, which is an acronym. ARC is, what does that stand for?
I'm not really sure what the acronym.
What the acronym is?
Yeah.
But the population that you worked with.
Yeah, so we work with individuals who have intellectual and developmental and intellectual disabilities.
Okay.
So I used to run, like I said, a group home and providing care for individuals, 24-hour care.
Wow. And that was up in Franklin?
Yeah.
Where are you from originally? Where were you born?
So I was born in Philadelphia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Everybody always asks me where you're from, and I always say all over the East Coast.
Yeah.
I moved a lot.
You did?
Up. Yeah.
Okay.
So with Tapestry or joining Tapestry, have lived experience. So I grew up with a mom who was on, an active user of drugs. So, I got to see the struggle firsthand and got to witness, the disparity and everything that came with that.
And that was that when you were living in Philly?
Yeah, and growing up, we moved a lot. We were Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York, and finally we made our way up towards the Boston area. Mm-hmm. So I was up in the Boston area until I was 12 years old. And then I turned 13. My mother moved from a shelter in Holyoke up to Greenfield, and that's when she began her recovery journey.
Okay.
So she was clean for a good 20 years. So I ended up moving from the Boston area up to Greenfield.
To Greenfield.
Yeah, so I was able to finish high school up there.
Okay.
Shortly after high school, I started my family. Right now, I'm a father of 4.
Wow!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how old are your children?
So their ages span from 14 all the way down to 6. So I have a 14-year-old girl, 16-year-old girl. 14-year-old, 13-year-old girl, 11-year-old boy, and a 6-year-old girl who's the youngest.
Wow, so we have 3 girls and a boy.
Yeah, they certainly keep me busy.
Absolutely. And now where are you living now?
So now I'm in the Westfield. So,
oh, you are?
Yeah, we bought our house up in the Westfield area about 2 years ago.
Nice.
So I've since moved down here, applied and got into Tapestry, working with the general population, our population. So I work at a syringe access program here in Westfield, and a lot of the population that we serve are active drug users. So providing health care to individuals without stigma, you know. So It's been really well. It's been awesome working with individuals and making an impact on their lives.
So let's go back because you talked about lived experience. You grew up with a mom who used drugs.
Yeah.
How now? Do you have any siblings? Was it just you and your mom? Or?
Oh no, there's 4 of us.
Okay, there were 4 of you all together.
Yep, there's 4 of us all together. I always was the one who kind of held that family bridge, tight. So
were you one of the oldest ones, Robert? Or
yeah,
you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was always important to be there for my siblings and just provide care for them, making sure they're okay.
And what did you find when you were growing up? I mean, if you don't mind sharing, but I think this really makes an impact. I think people can understand when somebody comes in, and we've had other people on the show who have, shared some really painful experiences, but it really drives that point home. So what was that like having a mom who was using drugs, and how did you survive?
Yeah, it was definitely tough, I had no control over it. But we got by. I can always say that regardless of what my mom was doing, she always ensured that we always had a roof over our heads.
Okay.
And ensured that we are always fed. So she always, we came first before anything.
And you know what? I think that's important for people to hear, Robert, because I think a lot of times those who haven't been in this situation or haven't had an intimate knowledge of the situation just assume that if someone is, especially a parent, is abusing drugs, that they are completely neglecting the family, neglecting their children, spending all the money on drugs, and they're homeless. I mean, that isn't always the case.
That's not always the case.
Yeah.
Some people just do different things to cope with life. Sometimes life is hard, and sometimes that's just their getaway.
Yep.
So regardless of everything, I mean, she always made sure we were taken care of, and that came first. So that was. We were blessed to at least have.
How did she begin the recovery? I mean, you said that she ended up recovering, in recovery for like 20 years. And how was that process? And how did that impact the family?
We were always a tight-knit family. The process, it was never easy. Sometimes it takes a few times. You fail occasionally. Sometimes you might relapse or whatever the situation may be, but you just don't give up. You just keep trying. So that's necessarily what she did. She moved up to the Greenfield area, was able to get into a clinic. She got the help that she needed, reached out to the resources that were available, and began her recovery journey.
And how old were you at that time?
I was about 14.
Okay.
Yeah, about 14.
Okay. And do you think that it helped, like, moving out of an area and kind of, do you sort of feel like it was, okay, we're here, we're going to sort of start new? Or
yeah, I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
It was nice to, I believe for her, it was nice to just get away and start fresh,
Yeah.
Know too many people in the
Yes.
area.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more resources in place.
Okay.
And she, like I said, she just seeked the treatment accordingly, and she had a support system.
Yeah.
My stepfather was a big support.
Awesome.
For her. So I know he was a strong advocate in helping getting her. To go to rehab and to continue that journey. So I'm very blessed to have him in my life.
It's, what I think, and we've had others on the show. Kathy Catuna's been on the show before as well. And, this substance use and abuse is really multifaceted, and there are a lot of layers to it. It's not like it's not a one size fits all. And okay, so here is the treatment of choice for everybody. It's very individual.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It has to be curated to you.
Yeah.
Like I said, it might not always work the first time around.
Yep.
It might take a few times. But recovery is possible.
It's a process.
It is.
So it's a process. I mean, for some, I would think for some inpatient would work better. For some, not so much. I mean, people they have jobs, they're employed. They, So, it gets complicated.
It does. It certainly does.
Yeah, it gets complicated. So let's take a break. It is 7:31. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. If you're just joining us, my guest this morning is Robert Ortiz from Tapestry Health. So we've learned a little bit about your background, which I think is really helpful for setting the stage on what you're doing with Tapestry now, which is what we're going to talk about when we come back.
Okay.
So we will be back, and my song for the 7:30 is, we have to play this Kitty Wells song, Pete. So we talked about this. This was a real feminist song back in 1952. It wasn't God who made honky tonk angels. We'll be back.
As I sit here tonight, the jukebox playing the tune about the wild side of life. As I listen to the words you are saying, it brings memories when I was a trustful wife. It wasn't God who made honky-tonk angels, as you said in the words of your song. Too many times married men think they're still single. That has caused many a good girl to go wrong. It's a shame that all the blame is on us women. It's not true that only you men feel the same. From the start, most every heart that's ever broken was because there always was a man to blame. It wasn't God who made honky-tonk angels, as you said in the words of your song. Too many times married men think they're still single. That has caused many a good girl to go wrong.
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Join me, Tina Gorman, each week from 6 to 8 a.m. for Wake Up Wednesday, when my guests and I discuss health, wellness, and lifestyle reimagined.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:35. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses on WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. And if you're just joining us, my guest this morning is Robert Ortiz, Sexual Health Outreach and Engagement Coordinator with Tapestry Health here in Westfield. And I keep saying, Robert, that it's Tapestry in Westfield because Tapestry is not just in Westfield. It's in other cities and towns and other counties.
Yeah.
So I want to be sure that we, kind of get that message out. So welcome again.
Thank you.
All righty. So let's talk a little bit about just Tapestry in general. So how many are there?
Oh, there's so many locations.
There's a bunch of them?
So we have both harm reduction sites and syringe access and disposal sites, and we also have our reproductive health clinics as well.
Okay.
So we're located at many places. You know,
Okay.
we're up in the Berkshires. We're here in Westfield. We're in Springfield, Holyoke. We're also in Northampton.
Northampton. That's like the first one that I remember
Yeah,
here.
yes,
Only
that's
because I
our-
used to park right near the parking lot that's at Tapestry Health. Years.
Yeah,
So it's been
that's-
around a long time, right?
Yeah, that's we actually celebrated our 50th year.
50, 50?
50 years of
amazing.
Tapestry. Yeah, leading experts in community and critical public health issues. So yeah, 50 years.
And now is
That's big.
Tapestry, Rob, I don't know if you know that, is it unique to Massachusetts or is it?
Yeah, so right now we're based, strictly in Western Mass.
Western Mass, okay.
Hopefully look to expand in the future.
Okay.
So we'll see.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the harm reduction program that you're part of here in Westfield. What is, and I think for a lot of people, they're going to say, what does that mean? Harm reduction. What is that?
Yeah, so like I said, we work with individuals who are actively using drugs.
Okay.
So we provide safer ways of for individuals to use if they're going to use, whether it's providing clean supplies, having overdose prevention, meetings, and how can we prevent overdoses, offering Narcan trainings and things like that is important. Safer use education and supplies. And then the big part of that, what I do as a sexual health outreach and engagement coordinator, I do a lot of HIV and STD testing and screening opportunities. So,
and again, STD, sexually transmitted diseases, for
Correct.
those who don't know all the acronyms. Yeah.
Correct, Therese.
We throw them around a lot.
I
but
know.
Yeah. Right.
So, I provide HIV and sexual transmitted disease testing. So if an individual is positive, my job is to help that individual get into treatment and seek care.
Robert, do you do more like one-on-one, or do you do more group work, or do you do more like educational, or do you do a little bit of everything?
I think we do a little bit of everything.
You do a little bit of
Yeah.
everything. And how does somebody find, like, how would they know to go to you? How would they know to find you?
A lot of it is word to mouth, I believe.
Okay.
So we do a lot of posting and events and things like that. Okay. I know we have a couple of groups going on right now. We have a colleague of mine, Jess, out of the Westfield office, had just started a women's group out of the Westfield office. We have also another gentleman that works with us out of the Westfield office. His name is Kai. And Kai does a lot of our Narcan trainings and going out into the community and ensuring that Narcan is readily available for individuals. One example of that is we were able to get one of our emergency opioid rescue kits mounted on the wall at the emergency room here in Westfield at Noble Hospital. And there was for me, it was a success, I think, getting that box in there. There was an individual who actually was overdosing in the parking lot, and it was faster for the nurse to grab a Narcan out of the opioid rescue kit that was mounted on the wall than it would have to run inside and try to find this medication.
Right, exactly.
So that was a success rate. That person did live and is here still today with us.
Yeah.
Just because that box is readily available. So we've gotten those boxes mounted at a few places in town.
Robert, I want to ask you something. Do you get, because you were talking about harm reduction and clean supplies and needle exchange and so forth. There's a lot of controversy about that. Do you get pushback from people saying, well, they're abusing drugs, so whatever happens. Or do you find that people are becoming a little bit more open-minded to understand the magnitude of the problem?
I think when an overdose hits home, it really changes someone's perspective and their views.
Yes.
A lot of individuals just don't realize how close to home it can hit, until it does happen, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it does open people's eyes, to be like, hey, maybe, this can happen to literally anybody.
Yeah.
So there is, there's always that controversial issues, you know, and getting that pushback. But I don't let that affect me in the work that I do. You know, I'm very open-minded, and I'm a firm believer, and everybody gets to get treated with dignity and respect, regardless of what you do.
And that's really one of the mantras of Tapestry is, sort of non-judgmental, dignity and respect.
Correct.
And I think you're right. I think because I found that in my own work, people kind of poo-poo things until it happens to them or a member of their family, if it's one of their children or their grandchildren or a sibling or a parent. And all of a sudden, it puts a whole different spin on things. So it's not, that urban, drug abuse. I mean, you think of it's that urban problem out there. It's Springfield and Worcester and Boston and New York City and L.A.
Not in the last 20 years, it's not.
Exactly. Of course it's not. I
just get mad that they're not funding treatment. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. And the beds for treatment have gone down in the last 30 years. The beds for treatment have been cut in half.
Yeah. I keep hearing about a lot of places that are closing left and right.
I know, and that's
patient treatments are closing, which is very unfortunate. Because I believe the treatments that's an important part of this and getting people into recovery.
And you know what? And that's hard for adults. Try to get those beds for kids under the age of 18. Right. It is so challenging, so challenging. But you're working primarily, so you get referrals, a lot of word of mouth. Do you get referrals from physicians or nurses, or are you starting to build those bridges a little bit, or not so much?
I think I'm building that on my end when I'm referring individuals to care. So I do a lot of Hep C treatments. If an individual tests positive for Hep C, it's my job to get them connected to treatment. So I do reach out to a lot of providers in the area and outside the area to kind of find out what their policies and procedures are in regarding to care and accessing that care, and then working with the individual, and getting them into that treatment,
So are the people that you work with more at risk for hepatitis C?
Oh, definitely. I work with a lot of individuals who use injection drugs, so they're sharing equipment, stuff like that. Okay. You're more likely to get Hep C, unfortunately.
Okay.
So, like I said, it's a lot of screening is being done.
And let's talk a little bit about Narcan, because you've mentioned that a few times. The box that is in the over at Bay State Noble Hospital, the emergency room. There was some nice press on that in the Westfield News, because that's how I found out about it.
Oh, really?
Read it. Yeah, I read about it in the Westfield News. They did a big article on that. So tell us a little bit about because now Narcan is, I think everybody has heard of it. I'm not sure everybody knows what it is, but what is Narcan?
Okay.
What does it do? Why do we need a box at the emergency room?
Yeah, so Narcan is also known as naloxone. It's a medication used to rapidly reverse an opioid overdose. It works by binding to the same receptors in the brain that opioids bind to, essentially blocking their effects and restoring normal breathing.
Okay.
When a person's having an overdose, the first thing to shut down is the person's breathing.
Okay.
So it's it's important to get that breathing when doing CPR or trying to bring the person back. It's important to do the breathing for them, because necessarily that's the first part of the system that's shut down on that person. If someone witnesses an overdose, they should call 911 immediately.
And what would they? And you know what? So let me just ask you this. So you got kids at a party, drugs are being done. How does somebody know that somebody's overdosing?
So some of the signs that
what are the signs and symptoms?
Some of the signs to look for would be the purple lips, the purple blue fingertips, also the breathing, shallow to no breathing. Also, it's called a snake gargle almost. You can tell, when you can kind of tell when it's so the breathing just.
So the person can't talk, I'm guessing.
No,
because they're having difficulty breathing. Gurgling, is that what I'm hearing?
It's like a gurgle,
like
a gurgle breathing.
And I didn't know about the purple lips and fingertips.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, they should call 911 immediately. A good way to check is doing a sternum rub. If you rub
Okay,
a
so-
person
yeah.
really hard on the sternum
Yep.
or on the underneath the nose, right on top of the lip, really hard, that can be very uncomfortable to a person. So if a person doesn't react to that, it's safe to assume that that person is overdosing.
Okay.
So at that, definitely call 911 right away. If once you've checked, no response, it's okay to administer Narcan to that individual. So you'll take this little medication, you'll stick it on one side of the nostril, and it has like a little plunger. You just
Oh, you know what? I didn't know that. I didn't know whether you were injecting it or what you're doing.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
no.
to myself, how the heck does somebody who doesn't know how to do an injection okay, so
Yeah.
is it like a spray?
Yep. So it's like almost like a nasal spray. Yeah. So it'll go up into the nose, and you can just mist it, right into their system, and it'll go into their nasal membrane. Narcan can take up to 3 to 5 minutes to work, and it can take also more than one. So,
Are you just putting it in one nostril?
So when the first one, when you do first, so your first dose is going to go on one side. When you go, if you need a second dose, the person still hasn't come to after 3 minutes. It's important to wait the 3 minutes to give the medication time to kind of take effect.
Okay.
If that after the 3 minutes, you can go ahead and give a second dose of Narcan, but you just want to do it in the
And the other opposite nostril?
Correct.
And it also depends on whether they've gotten an accidental dose of fentanyl or anything like that, too, because Narcan loses its effectiveness the more fentanyl's in a pill or something like that they don't know. They don't even know is in there. They think they're getting an opioid, and they're getting fentanyl, which is a super opioid.
Right.
Okay. So let me ask you this, Robert. From the time that somebody looks like, if you think someone is experiencing an overdose, what are we talking about with time here to where it could be critical that this person isn't going to make it? Like, what, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah, I think for every person is different.
Yeah.
I think, it depends on what they've
what they ingested and
correct. But
I
like
would
I
also
said,
think like your body type, your size.
Exactly. So like I said, after you definitely call 911 right away. You can check to see if the person is responsive. If not, you administer the Narcan, and you want to do the breathing for the person. Give 3 minutes for the Narcan to take effect. You're going to administer a second dose on the opposite nostril. Okay. Continue the breathing. Hopefully by 5 minutes, help has arrived. If you're on the phone, you call 911 through the phone on speakerphone.
Yeah.
And you're kind of doing what you need to do. Hopefully by 5 minutes, help has arrived to kind of alleviate you and hopefully take over. And hopefully by 5 minutes, that person has come to.
All right. So how do people get Narcan?
So Narcan is available through us at Tapestry, actually. Okay. So anybody can come into our site. We're located at 17 East Silver Street here in Westfield, Massachusetts. And people can walk in and get Narcan free of charge. And if you're not in the Westfield area, you can visit any of our harm reduction sites across all of Western Massachusetts and obtain Narcan that way.
And how does it come, Robert? I mean, is it like in a box, in a bag, I'm picturing like somebody's ODing. I'm grabbing Narcan. I know I have a very short period of time. So is it like in a
It's just in a plastic thing that you.
Okay, so kind of like if you got like a nasal spray.
Correct.
Okay.
And it opens fairly
Okay,
easy.
so easy.
Just pop it out.
Okay.
Administer it real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not hard to use.
Okay.
And it's, like I said, readily available at all our sites.
Is it already like pre-dosed? Like, you know what I mean? Like I should have had you bring one just so that we had a sample, because I'm like,
fine.
okay, I've never really even thought about this.
Yeah, no, I do have one in my car. I definitely keep one on me at all times. I try to have it in my bag and
so if you sprayed this, are you spraying it more than what? Like if you're squeezing, are you squeezing it more than once, or is one squeeze just given the dose?
Yep, one squeeze is just giving the dose. It's not even a squeeze, it's just a plunger. You're just gonna plunge it up. Okay. So you kind of hold it with 2 fingers, you put it into the nose cavity.
Okay.
And you're just gonna hit that plunger all the way up, and that's gonna shoot 4 milligrams of Narcan into the system.
So you're not measuring anything.
Nope.
You're not It's
no.
just boom.
Yeah.
Up.
No, I believe Narcan back in the day used to be a 2-piece thing where you'd have to like put it together and.
Yeah, I mean, in the meantime, somebody's dying in front of you.
Yeah, so they made it a lot easier to use. Okay. This thing comes already prepackaged. It's all done up where you can just
I got to
pop
tell
it
you,
out.
this was like the most valuable lesson to learn because I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, if for those of us who have never experienced it, I've heard of it. I know it's important. I know that it saves lives, but it's like an AED machine. If you've never seen it or you don't know how to work it, it's like, okay, what do I do? I have it available. So, all right, let's take a little break. It is 7:50. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. If you're just joining me, my guest this morning from Tapestry Health is Robert Ortiz. We're going to talk more about Narcan. We're going to talk a little bit about the vigil that's happening tomorrow night and Tapestry's participation. In the meantime, it is National Breastfeeding Month. So, with a new baby in the house, we had to talk about this a little bit. So we're going to listen to Elvis Presley singing Milk Cow Blues Boogie. We'll be back.
Tell me, milk cow, nothing wrong with you. Milk cow, nothing wrong with you. You ain't let your cat, and your milk is turning blue. Lord, your calf is hungry, and I believe it needs a serve. Lord, your calf is hungry, and I believe it needs a serve. But your milk is turning blue. I believe he's out of love. I feel like milking in a cow won't come. I feel like churning in a milk won't turn, and I'm crying. Please don't leave it on. And if you see my milk cow, baby, now, drive her home. I feel like milking in a cow won't come. I feel like churning in a milk won't turn, and I'm crying. Please don't leave it on. And if you see my milk cow, baby, now, drive her home. Oh, my milk cow be rambling, a mile around. Oh, my milk cow be rambling, a mile around. How can you suck on some other man's milk cow when the same man time?
Underwriting for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield, serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since 1969. For more information on the Great Futures Club for ages 3 to 5, happening weekdays, and the Club Teen Center for ages 11 and older, weekdays from 6:30 till 8 p.m., Go online at bcgwestfield.org or visit the club at 28 West Silver Street. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. Great futures start here.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio. 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:56. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with Robert Ortiz, Sexual Health Outreach and Engagement Coordinator with Tapestry Health here in Westfield. So welcome again, Robert, and thank you so much for that sort of our own personal WCPC Narcan training. We've mentioned a couple of times that tomorrow is International Overdose Awareness Day, and there is a vigil planned here in Westfield, which we have done annually for many years now, right on Park Square, and that will be from 5:30 to 8. But there was a wonderful article in this week's Reminder on Narcan training and the overdose vigil, so I just want to read a piece of this to kind of wrap things up. So the city will observe International Overdose Awareness Day tomorrow with events focused on information, prevention, and remembrance. So all three of those. Harm reduction counselors from Tapestry Health, which opened an office in Westfield last year, will be in the Lang Auditorium, so that's at the Westfield Athenaeum, from 10 tomorrow morning till 2 in the afternoon for Narcan training and information. So from 10 to 11, the Narcan training is geared for leaders of the faith community.
Correct.
From 11:30 to 12:30 for members of the general public, and then from 1 to 2, Narcan training will take place in Spanish.
Correct.
And our own Robert Ortiz will be doing that. Yes. He will be running the Spanish training. There's no registration necessary. Tapestry staff will be giving out Narcan, showing individuals how to use it, and answering questions. Narcan is always available, as Robert mentioned earlier, at Tapestry's Harm Reduction Clinic, which is 17 East Silver Street here in Westfield. And it's open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 4, and Tuesday and Thursday from 8 to 12. And the phone number there is 241-5379. The clinic serves people actively using drugs, their partners and families, which I think is really important, as well as people at a high risk of having or seeing an overdose. Tapestry will also staff one of the resource tables at the vigil tomorrow night from 5:30 to 8 o'clock in Park Square. Yeah. Did I miss anything, Robert?
No, you did a great job covering that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you will be there tomorrow night.
We'll be there.
Other members of Tapestry will be there as well?
Correct. And also, just want to throw it out here. Tonight, I will actually be at Hughie's of the Nook. Is that how you say that?
I think so. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So I'll be at the
Nook.
I'll be at the Nook.
The Nook, right around the corner. Yep.
Yep. So I'll be there this evening, actually. Doing Narcan training and distribution. If anybody's around and want to come see me, I will certainly be there offering some Narcan to the community.
Thank you. I think the other thing, and I just want to end by saying how we met. We actually met because Robert and I both served on the Pride Committee, the Westfield Pride Committee, and here's my tapestry. I have it every week as my little cozy here, and it's my it's my Pride one. But I think that's really important too. I think one of the things that I think Tapestry seems to try to do, as Gandara does as well, and some of our other community organizations, is kind of meet people where they are.
Correct.
And that's not always in the clinic that we work in.
Nope.
And we do the same at the senior center. I mean, yes, we have this building and people come into the building, but we are also out in the parking lot, and we're also in people's homes, and in other community events, and as that we talked about a lot, the event tomorrow night.
Correct.
So you'll have a resource table there so that, maybe people aren't comfortable walking into the doors, or maybe people don't really know, I'm not sure where that place is, but at a table or at the Nook,
At the Nook,
You know,
or you
it's
can even
like,
give
yeah.
us a call. We do delivery services on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 4. We take our last call closer to 3:30, just to be mindful of time. But we actually are one of the only sites to have bicycles. So since we have the bike path,
Oh my gosh! Oh
our
yes.
sites have bicycles, so we actually can go out into the community on our bikes and
I love that.
meet individuals.
I love that.
Right in town. So
It's really bringing it close to home.
yeah.
Robert Ortiz from Tapestry Health. Thank you so much for being a guest. Looking forward to
certainly.
seeing you tomorrow night for those that attend the vigil.
Yes.
You are listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. I will be back next week. Next week I have a guest from the Arbors at Westfield. We haven't had someone from the Arbors on the show for quite a while. So we have a new young man who joined the Arbors a couple of months ago. He's going to be joining me next week. I will see you then.